a lie that spiraled totally out of control. I told everyone I had a miscarriage when I hadn't even been pregnant in the first place. It all started because I wanted to let a guy down easy. I met Nate on an app, and from the second date, I knew it wasn't a match. I didn't want to hurt his feelings, so I came up with what I thought was a genius plan. I told him I just found out I was pregnant from the guy I dated before him, and I was keeping the baby. I figured that would scare him off and make it easier for both of us. But Nate didn't run. He said he admired my strength and that no child deserved to grow up without a father figure, and he was ready to step up if this other guy wouldn't. I was stunned, way too stunned to come up with a good excuse when he said I needed to tell my family, with him right next to me for support. So the next thing I knew, I was telling my entire family over FaceTime that I was pregnant by a guy who didn't even exist. They were over the moon. My mom cried and said she'd thought this was never going to happen for me. My aunt brought over maternity clothes. Everyone kept saying how brave I was. Everything was escalating so fast and no one was reacting the way I'd predicted. At this point, I had no idea how to get out of this. I figured after a few weeks, Nate would realize he didn't want this after all, and I'd be able to admit the truth to my family that I told a stupid lie to get a guy off my back. But that didn't happen. Nate started keeping a pregnancy journal and bought books on co-parenting and even rubbed my feet every night after work. Every time I thought about coming clean, I just didn't. No one had ever treated me like this. I'd always been the one holding everyone else together, the dependable one. Now people were showing up for me. My father told me he was proud of me, which had literally never happened before. So I kept going. I ordered a silicone pregnancy belly online and started wearing it under my clothes around week 13. I kept making excuses why Nate couldn't come to my appointments, and then downloaded ultrasound images from Pinterest, photoshopped my name on them, and printed them out to hang on the fridge. I researched symptoms so I could convincingly act them out. I'd tell Nate I was too nauseous to eat certain foods, too sore to go out, and that my libido was tanking so he wouldn't ask to be intimate and see that my baby bump he so lovingly caressed was actually a hunk of plastic. At 21 weeks, Nate surprised me with a weekend baby moon at a cottage he'd rented. I smiled through the whole thing, even as my actual stomach tied itself in knots. I knew I couldn't keep it going much longer. By the time we got home, I was panicking. A real due date was creeping closer, and there would be no baby. I had to get out. So I told Nate I started spotting. I said I was going to the doctor alone because I was scared and didn't want him to see me like that. I drove to a McDonald's 2 towns over and sat in the parking lot for 5 hours. Then I came home with red eyes and told him I'd lost the baby. He held me all night. My family came over with casseroles and sad looks, and my mom stayed with me for a week to take care of me. Everyone kept saying, none of this is your fault. I'd never felt worse in my life. 3 months later, Nate proposed. I told him no, not because I didn't care about him, because at that point I really did love him, but the guilt was eating me alive. I moved out and left a letter behind with everything. The lie, the reason, the truth I was too ashamed to say out loud. I didn't hear from him again, but I guess he told my family the truth because the next day my sister called me crying and told me not to try to talk to any of them for a while. My parents haven't contacted me except to send me a bill for the maternity clothes and baby toys they bought me. The shame tears me apart, but I'm trying to work on myself. I faked suffering because it made me feel love, but now I work with people who are actually hurting. It's not redemption, but it's a